Okay, so marketing video one of probably about six. I'm going to talk about marketing, the different styles or what we call orientations of marketing, how they apply to the sex industry, and sort of like a good picture of where we're at now in Toronto and what you can do in the future to start using all these new things that you're going to learn about in the next 10 minutes to your advantage to help you start making more money. So I'm going to start by explaining what marketing is. You probably think marketing has something to do with advertising or commercials or I don't know, the banners that you see or signs outside. And the truth is that marketing is way, way, way more than that. Marketing just means that you're choosing to communicate how you're going to deliver value to your clients. So marketing is delivering value to your clients. And that's really, really, really important to understand first and foremost that most of what you do is marketing. And there are so many things that are so much more important than just the session. It's like the concept of you and how are you communicating with them and how are you presenting yourself and who are you friends with and a whole bunch more like I don't know, kind of confusing and complicated things that you don't really think tie in, but I promise you they do. And I'm about to explain why. So, different types of marketing orientations. Let's start way back in like the 1900s. Marketing orientation number one would be production orientation. And a really good example of a production orientation is kind of like the Ford T model cars. When they came out with those cars in like the 1905 sort of range, those cars were like all the same. And if you wanted a car, it was going to be a black car. It was going to be a Ford car. It had no gears. It didn't have a roof. It was just kind of fundamental. And it was like, if you want it, come get it. Full stop. And an example of that in the sex industry right now would be a girl who kind of says, I am who I am, and this is what I is, and I be it really good kind of thing. And that would have been like in the early 1990s in Toronto. The sex industry is kind of really behind, by the way, like really, really, really behind. And we're like speeding up to catch up. But this is sort of happening in the 1990s when sex work started becoming really accepted. So I am what I am, come get me. You know, you would post like, I don't know, 36D 2436 in the back of a newspaper, call for a good time. This is production marketing. And it used to be effective because, I mean, there weren't really that many ads. So you weren't really fighting to get the attention too much. You got it. And there are still women that do this and that are successful, but they're going down in numbers as more and more people start doing it and as people start becoming savvier about doing it. So production marketing, I've been there. I did that. I worked at an agency. I didn't really say an awful lot about myself. It was like, at the time, I don't know, 18, 19, whatever my weight and measurements were, and that was about it. And that was enough. And I did really well. But as the industry started to change, I had to start to change how I was marketing myself too. So I moved into a sales marketing orientation. And this is sort of the next orientation that came along in the real world too. And sales orientation means that you are concentrating on selling by volume. So a really good example of this would be like timeshare condos. Like, oh, come with us for a free trip, but we're going to try and make you buy our timeshare. Or anything that has really aggressive marketing. In the sex industry, this would be the type of agency who, say, maybe 5 to 8 years ago, they would post a lot on Craigslist, which used to have an adult section and doesn't anymore. But that was like the big place to post. And people would post not once a day, not twice a day, but once an hour or twice an hour. And they were just trying to be hammering home this idea of like, come see us, come see us, come see our girls, come see our girls. And the blurbs themselves would be pretty production oriented. So hard hitting sales, incorporating the production concept because every marketing concept builds on the former one. So production, okay, yeah, be what you are. Sales, start trying to sell it really hard. And then people got really annoyed with this high pressure sales environment and people trying to constantly sell themselves and like over pressuring and all this kind of stuff. So they started to realize that like, the girls that are really good, they don't have to push that hard anymore. They already have their clients, they're done, they're set up, and people started wondering, or clients started wondering, what's wrong with her that she has to advertise 600 times a day? So now we kind of have to step away from this whole idea of sales marketing, although we do have to keep that in mind along with the production aspect, just not pushing that hard. We moved into this idea of marketing orientation. which is really, really common, and most companies nowadays use at least a marketing orientation. Marketing orientation is characterized as somebody who is going to talk to the consumer or the client in our case and find out what they want and then do their damnedest to provide it. Now you can see how this is a huge shift from both sales and production. The idea now is like, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to deliver what you want, and you in turn are going to pay me for not just, being as amazing as I am, but also listening to you. And most agencies right now are in a marketing orientation pretty much. They're not pushing the sales anymore. They're not just, having a little blurb at the back of a newspaper or the back of a magazine or on an internet website somewhere. They actually market. So they're listening. If you go onto a review board in our area, like Turb or SurfCare, however you want to pronounce that, I don't care, you can see what people are reviewing you as. So you know what they want. And you can see what they're looking for. So you kind of know what they want. And if you really start to read it, you can start to follow both your reviews and other girls' reviews and try and figure out where your market is and what your clients want. Not to mention the fact that you have one-on-one FaceTime with each and every single one of your clients by virtue of being a hooker. So listen to your clients. That is marketing orientation. And that's about as far as agencies can really go, because agencies can't go on to the final stage, well, final so far, because I'm sure it's going to move on even more from there, but final so far kind of stage of marketing. And that stage is social marketing. And social marketing is massive for girls like me and hopefully for girls like you. A really good example of a company that does social marketing right now is like iPhone, Mac, Apple type. What Apple? I think it's called Apple. When you buy an Apple product, you're not just buying like, I don't know, an iPhone or an iPod or a Macintosh computer. You're also buying into this image of this brand that the company is presenting you with. And if you have an iPod, you're more likely to have an iPhone. And if you have an iPhone, you're more likely to have an iPod. If you've got a Mac, you're more likely to have, you know what I mean? Like, you're just creating this whole network of like things that all connect together, and you are creating a relationship with the client. So it becomes a little bit less about your product and a lot more about how you're making the client feel. And are you really there? And yeah, you listen, yeah, okay, you're doing what they want you to do, kind of maybe sort of within your own comfort zone. But are you truly creating a connection with your clients? This is why social marketing is impossible for agencies to do. They're not there with you. And yeah, as of like on the phones or whatever, the girls can like establish a connection with clients they like that call and try and get them to call back and be friendly and remember their names, but you are the one in the room with them. So what you have to do is create and maintain a connection with your clients. This includes texting your clients if they're okay with it, emailing your clients if they're okay with it, responding to their emails, responding to their texts, remembering when their birthday is, remembering what their favorite color is. I mean, just anything that establishes that you have a real connection with this client. And that's sort of what I was getting to in my first introduction video. The idea that by the time you're a social marketer, which hopefully at the end of this video you'll realize how important social marketing is, you are no longer in competition with the other girls. Other girls cannot have the same connection with your client as you are now selling them. So there's no reason to compete with them, because your client is your client and their client is their client. And yeah, maybe there's a little bit of crossover or whatever, but that, like, having a good social marketing concept makes you the only option for your clients. This is why I'm successful. This is why most of the other independents that I know are successful. Social marketing. So, in summary, marketing, delivering value to customers. Production marketing, the girls with like the quick little blurbs. Sales, the girls who post 300 times a day. Marketing orientation, the girls that listen to their clients. And then social marketing, which is where you should be talking to your clients on the boards, emailing your clients, texting your clients, remembering things about your clients, and making yourself the only option for your clients. because you're just that kick-ass now and you can socially market yourself.